Oh no, that's Kaden. Hey girl. You did bring me a candy at the store. Oh, thank you, girl. You spend your big girl money on this? Yeah. You so sweet.
Let's go.
So I gotta get you a credit, but Miss Kim's making me work for him at the last.
Good afternoon, everyone. Are we ready for Wednesday Bible study?
See, I'll give you an extra couple of
I
seconds.
hope everyone's air conditioning is working. It's hot outside. All right, let's go ahead and open up in prayer. Lord, I praise and thank you for this day that you've given us. Another day of ground that we can use to hopefully spread your
She told me before, I was like, I just wanted to make sure you knew how
another day
it's
that we
like.
can influence others for Jesus Christ. Lord, I pray that everyone's love for this ministry might increase. They might invest more in this ministry. I do praise and thank you for those that are investing in this ministry. Pray that you might have this be good out of your cross. Holy Spirit, come through.
You ain't gotta do that.
Teach us. So that we might grow in grace in Jesus' name. Amen.
All right. Hola. I say hola. I don't pay attention to that. How's everybody doing this evening? Amen. God is good all the time. And all the time, God is good. Open up the windows of heaven and pour out a blessing. And melodies from heaven.
I'm coming, I promise.
Rain on me. Rain down on me. If I live it up, I'll draw on you.
I don't know, I got no answer.
Okay, so hey, you two. So what I'm doing is,
All today.
for my slides to load, because we're going to have a slideshow presentation on tonight. So while we're waiting on that, thank you, Lord. Check on learning. Okay, so who can tell me what had happened on last Wednesday?
We have Bible study.
And guess what? If y'all didn't hear her because she didn't have no mic, she said my English was bad. And it is. And guess what? It's going to be bad again today. I'm going to let you know. So, who else? Because that was kind of right, but they had never for what we had done. So,
As long as I got some candy, you thinking about it? Cut off the
who else?
There you go. Come on, man.
Yes, Miss
I wasn't here physically, but I was here on YouTube last Wednesday, and I remember you guys learning about this personal accountability.
And so, what does personal accountability look to you? How would you define that?
Holding myself accountable.
Hi. Simple as that. It would be hard, AJ. Miss Rayner, what you have?
Oh, I will just say the name of the book. QBQ is a question behind the question. We was learning that. What questions to ask and what not to ask yourself.
And how many of you remember that the question behind the question, is there any such thing as a wrong question?
Yes.
Yes? Yes, about an example of what a QBQ question is, and then counteract that with what a wrong question would be. Who can give me an example from what they learned on last week?
A bad question would be, why is the coffee shop closed? And a good question would be,
It's still on show up here.
how can I guess how can I open a coffee shop? Not, what can I do? You know, it's it's not correct. Last week about that. I can't really remember how to ask it, and I know it has to do with me in the coffee shop versus everybody in the coffee shop.
So on last week, we really got with the coffee shop. The coffee shop example to me was like when we do definitions. We was on it and we stayed on it for so long till it was like it was just an example. So I think Ms. Krista said it on last week. That's an example. However, when we think about that, say you come in to the to City of David, and someone's already doing it at the coffee shop. Someone's there already. So that does not mean your role and your service ends. There's something else that you can then a hand to. There's something else that you can do within your ministry. So the coffee shop is just one of many things that we can do within our ministry and within the body of Christ to be a service. So the coffee shop was just an example. So if you were to, so one of the questions would be, how can I serve within my ministry today? An incorrect question would be, as you said earlier, why is the coffee shop open? So the QBC is, the QBQ, the QBQ is always, you want to always start your question with how and what. How and what. You don't want to start your question with when, why, who, and where. Because what that does is it takes the responsibility and the accountability for what you do within your ministry off of you internally and then externally, and or you put it on someone else. So this whole book, the whole class or study is all about you. Me, I. So you would always want to contain an I.
What I do like about what you said last week was this lesson is the one time that we can focus on ourselves. We can be selfish on ourselves because we've got to take inventory of ourselves. We've got to take a look within at what we are not doing and stop looking at what others are doing and find out where we can help increase what others are doing. So I like the selfish part of it, where it's all about me right now and how I can improve, where I can put my hands to use.
Because what we're mostly trained in our mind and our thought process is when we hear about accountability, especially when we read the Bible and things like that, it's you have to hold our brother and sister accountable. if they're not doing something and we see that we got to make sure that we're being accountable for him and make sure that they don't fall, make sure they don't slip if they are. We can go in, we can come in, we can help them if we have that capability to do it, and then we help them along so that way when they can get stronger and they can go out and do the same thing. That's how we do discipleship. Because you're strengthening one another so that they can go out and strengthen someone else, and then it keep going and going and going. However, the QBQ is more of internal. So you're not really holding your brother or sister accountable, you're holding yourself accountable. Which is why it's called personal accountability.
When we're talking about taking the focus and putting it on ourselves in terms of what we're supposed to be doing, what we can be doing, and I think in terms of how Satan twists everything around, and he turns it negative, this is a chance we have to turn something easy on something he's trying to do for a lot. How our society tells us we're supposed to be focused on making money, on getting things. Well, this is a chance for us to be selfish and to try to put up treasure in heaven through these things, these acts, instead of, like for instance, I'm going to mow somebody's yard. Instead of being somebody at church, help them out. Instead of getting cash that I know I'm going to waste on nothing. Instead, I'm trying to look at it in terms of I'm being selfish and I want the money to be put in heaven for when I get up there. If that makes any sense.
Okay.
I know that's kind of a weird way to look at it.
One thing that I can add to is when you said the thought process, because QBQ does deal with our thought process. It's how we think, how we process things, how we make our choices, how we decide. What are the questions that we ask ourselves when we're making a decision? What are the questions that we ask ourselves before we make a choice? So whatever that analyzation within yourself, whatever you're doing, those questions that you're asking, the how and the what, first, at the end, you'll get your answer. And then it's allowing you to think, process it, so that way before you make the decision, before you decide, your choice, is it going to be a right choice or is it going to be a wrong choice? Is that choice going to help improve with the ministry or is it going to take away from the ministry? Is the choice going to help with you being a good servant or is it going to disable? So that's pretty much what it is. And we do have a scripture for the whole class. So that's on the first slide. So it's Romans 14:12. So then each of us shall give an account of himself to God. So when that day comes, and you're standing in front of the Lord, he's not going to ask you, what did Miss Krista do? He's not going to ask you, well, what did the bishop do? He's going to ask you, what did you do with what I have given you? How did you use it? Did you bury your talents? Did you hoard your talents? Or did you multiply your talents? Next slide, please. So, what is QBQ? We already talked about that. So, it is a tool that enables individuals to practice personal accountability by making better choices in the moment and asking better questions of ourselves, of yourself. You're not going to ask Ms. V. I'm not going to go and ask Eldridge Gaskin. I'm not going to go ask Juliana. I'm going to ask myself. process, you thought about what you were asking yourself, you thought about what the task was at hand, and how it plays into what you're getting ready to decide, the choice you're getting ready to make. They resolve problems or issues, not create problems or issues. So when you're asking yourself the how question or the what question, your answer should solve whatever it is that you're getting ready, you wanted to probably ask someone else. So now it's not going to shift and blame. You can't blame anyone. You can't be a victim. You can't do any of that, because the only person that you can hold accountable for what you did or did not do is yourself. Next slide, please. So, what is personal accountability? And I like this slide. I like this picture because personal accountability, it makes you motivated, you're doing stuff, you're energetic, you're growing, it's personal growth. It makes you feel good about yourself. You're versatile. I mean, you probably go over here, you can play the drums, and you probably go over here, you can sing. And then you go over dance, singing. You get media and preach at maybe not at the same time. But that's one of many things that you can be doing. So, accountability means an obligation or willingness to accept responsibility or to account for one's actions. Personal, we talked about this last week as well, means as an adjective of affecting or belonging to a particular person rather than anyone else. So we broke that term down. There's the word account, which means as a noun, to report or is a description of an event or an experience, from Oxford. The key word Bible, because we are in ministry, is logos, is Greek, for something said, statement. So to be accountable means to give the ability to give an account for something said, in particular, you. So you have to give an account for what you said that you were going to do within the ministry. So if you've been given an assignment or you're serving in the area and something happened, who are you going to be accountable to? You can't say, well, I didn't have everything, so how? Well, you would have had everything because before you did all that, you had already did some processing, you did some thinking, you did some, before you made the choice, your solution or the choice that you made, your decision was supposed to create something that was positive. It was supposed to solve something. It shouldn't create a problem.
I like how you said that when we respond with the QBQ, we have to have pretty much a solution. And a couple of years ago, Bishop told us that we are to be a solution-based ministry. So I think that helps us, maybe we didn't know how to be a solution-based ministry at first. So I think this actually helps us to understand that more and to push us to holding ourselves accountable and having a solution, which is us, to making the problem better.
It makes us feel good because we're actually doing something for our ministry. We're supposed to take pride in the ministry where we serve it. We're supposed to take pride in that. We're supposed to be, we shouldn't, I don't want to say loathe when you come to church, but some people, they just come just because it's something to check off the box. They're not coming in here to do a service to anybody, let alone ask a right or a wrong question. So we don't want to be that type of person. So when you come in, you want to come in, you want to do something. We always pray every day, send the laborers, send the laborers, send the laborers, send in the laborers. Well, I mean, the harvest is plenty, but the laborers are few. We want 750, but the 150 that's in here, ain't pulling up their load. Oh, okay, next. So, you make it personal. Who's she pointing at? So she's pointing at herself. So, how you make it to make it personal? You're taking and accepting responsibility for your actions, your choices, your thought patterns, and the process and your processes, not anybody else's. Not anybody else. Next slide. So, the writer gives us 3 simple guidelines for creating a QBQ. QBQ is question behind the question. When you're asked the question, you already have the solution. So, begin with what or how, and not with who, when, or why, or where. The word's not up there, but I just said. So now who's accountable for what you just heard? Who? Oh, I thought somebody said her name. No. Yeah, you did. See, because you weren't getting to this one. That's it. She wasn't actively listening. So the next step is, the next guideline is to contain an I. Selfish. Contain an I. It should not contain they, we, or you. But when we go, first of all, that's two shirts already. First you said we, and then you said we. Well, who that? Said who, and then said that. You didn't. You don't already shifted. Now, when I say shifted, he shifted us to another level. You don't want to shift the blame of a responsibility to someone else by saying you. Then the last step is focus on action. You gotta walk it out. Walk it like I talk. Walk it like I talk. And walk it like I talk. You gotta walk that thing like you talk. You say you did, you gonna do it. Then do it. I got kids. Next time. This is what a QBQ done the correct way would look like. So you will begin your question with what or how, and not with who, when, why, or where. I ain't got no money, girl, but you said it. So, what can I do right now to make a difference? How can I support the ministry today? How can I improve myself today? How can I add value to the ministry that will achieve the mission statement of our ministry? You know, how would I add value to that? I probably did right. However, y'all know my English is broken. What can I do right now to serve the ministry? Not tomorrow, not next week, but what can I do right now? Next. So, I know a prophet. He's pretty good. Y'all might know him. His name is Keith Wade. He's a great prophet. He said there's a right and a wrong way to let everybody. However, to bring it here, if there's a right way to ask this question, it's going to be a wrong way to ask it. So then he prophesied. He said, all right and the wrong way to love somebody. Now, it's the right way to love Jesus and the wrong way to love Jesus. But it's the right way to ask a question, and it's the wrong way to ask a question. Mr. Miller said he put it as incorrect, but to go into what I was saying to make y'all laugh and stuff and scoot y'all, I had to go with the prophet. He had me on. So now you have incorrect questions. Is why, when, and I just put those two particular examples because I like how what it does when you ask that particular question when it starts with a why or a when. So if you ask why, what does that mean? Why me? It's like a poor, pity party, woe is me type of tone. It creates stress, and stress is a choice resulting from choices. Why? Why they pick me? Why I gotta go over there and say? Why he didn't ask me to sing and why he got somebody else playing with me? I know how to play the drum. Why he didn't? Why didn't he ask me to volunteer? Why? That's what y'all sound. When questions suggest that we have no choice but to wait and put off taking any type of action until some other time. When can I see my smart soul? I don't know. When can I teach the next Bible class? When questions lead to procrastination. So, well, you might not teach the Bible class because you might not read the Bible. Okay, so when questions lead to procrastination, put it off today until tomorrow can lead to problems later and loss of time. So now we're wasting time. Asking incorrect questions wastes valuable time. It wastes valuable time. And it leads to stress. So now you're stressed out, now you're all on the altar, and you're crying because you're stressed out because you ain't do nothing that you said you ain't walk it like you talk. You ain't walk it out. You're on the wrong side of that prophecy. You asked the wrong questions, you made the wrong choices. Focusing on what we don't have is a waste of time and energy and kills innovation. Waiting until everything is in place before making a decision is loss of valued time and displays lack of faith. That's a lot of peace. That's the whole. Go back. Go back to peace and thank you. Let's look at that. So we're focusing on what we don't have, so we're wasting our time, and it kills energy and kills innovation. So if you're asking when, that means it's something that you probably could have did at that moment had you asked the right questions and had you processed it correctly. And had you processed it correctly, you would have a better solution. But now, because you probably asked some incorrect questions, you probably said when, probably said why, used how, then you probably said when we, or will, what are you? So now we're wasting time, and it's procrastinating. It's putting off something that we can have already gotten done, have already completed. And we don't have to wait. We don't have to wait till everything. Well, I'm just getting myself together, then I'm coming to tell the Lord to give my life to Christ. I'm waiting till everything gets. Well, you wait till everything gets together and make a decision. Somebody else may have already done what you're probably wanted to do or was asking to do, so now it's already completed. But it could have been you. It could have been you. You could have made the impact. You could have made the come to life for somebody. You could have been that leader that we're looking to, people were looking up to. And it leads to a lack of faith. So it's like you're doubting yourself. So that means you're doubting what you can do and the abilities and the gifting that God has placed within you to do within our ministry to accomplish the mission statement.
I was going to say, focusing on what we don't have is a waste of time and energy and kills innovation within our ministry.
Nobody's being creative. We hear it all the time, but it really is true. The grave is full of people that are full of their ideas because they weren't innovative. They were wasting time. They didn't step out on faith to serve in that particular area where they had the capacity to do it. That idea that you're thinking at this particular time, but you're waiting for somebody to say something to you, or you're losing time. You're losing valuable time. It could be something that's very important for our ministry so that we can continue to impact culture and to impact the community in which we're serving in our surrounding communities.
And as we talk about time, I think Bishop has also been saying how important God's timing is. So when we are wasting time and we're doing things repeatedly and we're waste of time and energy and kills innovation, we're going to end up missing God. We're going to end up missing what He has for us at that time and at that moment because we're not picking up the slack, or we're not being innovative.
And it puts us out of position. So if we're out of position, that means there's I'm not saying deacon is open or somewhere else. It leaves a gap, and where there's a gap, there's space for the enemy to come in, and we don't want that. We want everybody to be in position to doing what they're supposed to be doing, when they're supposed to be doing it, at the time that they're supposed to be doing it, because that's what you said. Next slide. So, this is where we can be selfish. Contain an I. Not they, not we, or not you. And what does that look like? I can make a difference today. I will support the ministry now. I will discipline my thoughts and make better choices and decisions in the moment. I will help serve and achieve the mission statement of my ministry. I am valuable, and I can add to the ministry. You got to know that you're valuable. You got to know that you're a treasure. And what does that start with? Is how you think about yourself. You have to think about yourself as valuable. You have to think about yourself as a hot commodity to the ministry where you're serving. You hot. You valuable. Everybody needs your gift. Because it's not for you anyway. I can serve right now in ministry. And why can't we do that now? Why can we serve now? Timing and what else that we said in the previous slide? It eliminates what? Okay. Because we can do it, we're doing it now. And I will hold myself personally accountable for the role I take or the role I play in is that you have in our ministry, in your ministry, this is our ministry, I will hold myself personally accountable for that. I am ready to make an impact. That's how we ended it on last week. I am ready to make an impact. Next slide. So, focus on action. That was the last guideline that he gave for the 3 guidelines. Focus on action. Action changes things. When we take action, it changes things. To make a QBQ action focus, add verbs such as do, make, achieve, and build. So if we remember the previous slides, did any of those those questions have these type of verbs in them? If you remember, you would need to go back to look. What can I do right now to make a difference? That contain the yes, do. And how can I add value to the ministry that will achieve the mission statement? There's also one of the action focus verbs that he suggests that we use when we ask the right question that will bring a solution. Also, adding can, now, today, and will are also action focus words. What can I do right now? What can I do right today to serve? Taking action may seem risky, but doing nothing is riskier. Doing nothing, you're not growing. Doing nothing, you're not learning, because you're not taking the risk to serve in a capacity or in a role that you're really not used to serving. So therefore, you're doubting yourself. So there's lack of faith there. You're not taking it, and you're not moving because you're not stepping. We walk by faith, not by sight. So when you walk, you have to actually take a step. So if you're not doing that, that means you're stagnated. You're not moving. You're going to sit there. You're not going to be doing anything. You're going to start stinking. And don't nobody want to be around nobody stinking. And guess what? You're taking up space. Because there is something in the QBQ book that I like what he said. He said, believe or leave. Either you believe, transforming lives and impacting culture, or you don't. Bishop always say, you know what, I want y'all to come with me. I want y'all to go. However, no one monkey ain't gonna stop no show. God's gonna still elevate you regardless if you stay or not. We're gonna still have 750 plus the 150 or whatever that's here, because your mind leaves room for somebody or labor that will put their hand to the plow and to do the work. So yes, you're valuable. Well, when you're valued and you're not using what your valuable, if you're not using your giftings, that value decreases. So you're like a car. It depreciates as soon as it walks out from the lot. We ain't gonna get the same thing for you before you got here. First.
It's not a pill.
Even God is looking for return on his investment.
Okay.
So if he's invested something within you and you're not utilizing that, then he comes back to see what, to get that return on what he's invested. Is he gonna stay apart from me? Or he gonna ask you what you do? And we talked about that earlier. Did you bury the talent? Did you hoard it for yourself? Did you keep it? Or you just didn't use it at all? Or did you actually use it and then you multiply? Because we add value to the ministry. Where our God, he's a multiplier. He multiplies. So we can add, so we will add. But I love God because he'll take what we add and then he'll multiply. He'll make it greater. And that's the kind of God we serve. So if we don't ask what we can do or make or achieve or build within our ministry, then we won't do or make or achieve or build within our ministry. That's basically what I just said. It's kind of just sums up everything. If you don't do it, if you don't ask what you can do, then you're not going to do it. Because you waited for someone to come give you an open invitation. We do that when we ask you to come to the altar. And some of y'all still don't take the invitation. It is better to be one who is told to wait than one who waits to be told. You wait to be told to do something, losing valuable time, wasting valuable time. Our God, he does operate in eternity. Yes, he does. But we operate in time. And if you're wasting it,
it's not up here.
You're not accomplishing anything. Decide what to do, then do it. Decide what to do, and then take the action. Next. Does anybody have any type of comments or questions? Are you getting anything? Are y'all learning anything? Y'all ready to make impact? We ready to make impact? I'm gonna get everybody straight. So, what are the risks? Taking action. What are the risks? There are some risks. With anything that we do, there's going to be a risk. When we gave our life to Christ, it was risky because guess what? We had to die to the old man and put on a new man. It was risky because we might have lost some friends that we didn't want to lose. So that's kind of risky. And when there's a risk, you're not really sure you want to kind of do it. You hesitate a little bit when there's risk. However, let's look at those. So if you take action, even if you make a mistake, brings growth and learning. Because you've done it, it might have been a mistake. However, you've learned what not to do the next time. It leads to solutions. We're a solution-based ministry. It requires courage. So you don't have to step out on faith. You don't have to do it. It's going to take some courage. And it builds confidence. So when you do it, you take the action. And all those words that were on the other slide about how it builds confidence, you feel better about yourself, and you feel better about the ministry and what you serve because you said, you know what? Not so much look what I've done, but look at that value because it's going to leave a mark here even after you leave. Because I know another prophetess. She's a prophetess. Whitney Houston. However, it might be the person who wrote it for her. But she really did a good job in being an oracle. She said, I believe that the children are our future. You got to teach them well and let them lead the way. In order for us to do that, we have to take risks and be confident and knowing that the value that we place within our ministry is going to leave a legacy behind for the children that are coming up behind us. That comes from the book of Rhythm and Blues, chapter 1, verse 1 through 5. So, the risk that will happen if you take no action brings stagnation and atrophy. That means pretty much like that. It's like big movement. It does nothing and holds us in the past. We can't be in the past. It's that we gotta look. We press towards the mark. So you're going towards something, that means you're moving forward. We have forward momentum. We pray like that always. Forward. God, our God is a progressing God. It indicates fear. When you don't take action, it indicates a lack of faith, doubt, which is that the last one, builds doubt, and fear. And you know, we ain't never scared. I'm from the kingdom, and I ain't never scared. But when I was first to be, I would say I stayed. You know, I'm from Florida, we ain't never scared. I ain't never scared. But since I'm here, we're on the kingdom. We ain't never scared. All right, next slide. Personal accountability starts with you. How many believe that? Next slide. No. Last time I said, but I just let it loud. That's why I do this time. I think I scared somebody when I said that last time. I think I said it real loud. See my bad. I scared y'all. It does not. Next slide. Oh, I gotta go. I ain't gonna be able to finish all the slides. Next slide. Next slide. Oh, no, go back to the person. I'm looking at my, okay. Personal accountability starts with me. So you gotta point to yourself. Well, because, okay, so let me look. So, personal accountability starts with you, meaning if you were to say that statement, personal accountability, if I say personal accountability starts with you, that's not correct. That would get the X.
I raised my hand because Bishop raised his hand. So
now what we do? Let Bishop.
Statement how you put it out there. You said how many believe that personal accountability starts with you. So when you're saying you, that means I. When I believe personal accountability, that's what you're saying. So now if I say personal accountability starts with you, then I'll be correct. What's that, Bishop? Right. Everybody else was scared.
I didn't take no risk and raise our hand. But I'm gonna tell y'all why the person people didn't raise their hand because they heard that on last week, so that's why they didn't raise their hand. So they understood the question.
That's why. Okay. All right. There's a question behind it.
There was a question behind the question. Next. I can do next. So basically, QBQ, that is the book. Basically, the ultimate goal of QBQ is action. That's the ultimate goal. To get you to do, to get you to serve. And to do and to serve now, not tomorrow. What can I do today, right now, that will help build and serve and make an impact in my ministry? Leaders lead. Put on a leadership mindset by practicing personal accountability and choosing to make a positive contribution to the ministry, no matter the role. A minister is going to make you a leader. Your mindset makes you a leader. How you think makes you a leader. How you think about yourself makes you a leader. Next. Conclusion, question behind the question is a tool that we must use daily, putting it into practice where we hold ourselves personally accountable, not others, for the choices and decisions that we make by asking better questions, avoiding asking incorrect questions, and putting into practice or action what I say I believe in. This is what wisdom looks like. Applying what we learn after what we know. Some people, they just know too much. You got a lot of information, but if you don't apply it, all you got is information. You didn't learn anything. Next slide. Let me